Hi, Bill Henshaw here, another one of my current events videos on YouTube. And this one will deal with our relationship with State Bar Association attorneys. And you need to know up front, they are not your friends, just the way the system works. And for openers belonging to a government sponsored organization, I mean, they're part of the government, right? If that's true, and as you'll learn by getting my constitutional defense document packets, you'll learn there are no states left that were admitted into this union. Send me an email, unincourt@gmail.com. I'll get you information out on how to get those. And if there are no states, then these attorneys would have had to have been appointed to office by the president and or a territorial governor appointed by the president, and none of them have been. We're going to be requesting that information every time we encounter one. Produce your certified copy of your appointment to office. See you. I mean, that's bad enough. Now, they're an officer of the court, and therefore their general appearance stipulates to the jurisdiction of a trial court it could get in no other way. So you want to avoid them at all costs. And I have a document that you get called Conditional Acceptance of Counsel that deals with the only known way that you can engage them, and that is in a principal and agent relationship. The agent, aka attorney, does what the hell it is we tell him to do. That's how it's supposed to be. I haven't found a single one that would do it. And even if they understand the issues, and most of them didn't get taught in 4 to 6 years of law school anyway, but they would have an irreconcilable conflict of interest, not only being an unregistered foreign agent, but all the issues that we bring challenge what I call the malignant, malevolent monopoly of the SBA on the quote unquote practice of law. And that, by the way, is exactly the situation I was in South Carolina in my felony case there, where I got arrested. That's a felony. They were practicing law without a license. And the judge read the charge to me, and I think she was one of the good ones, by the way, as it happens. And I laughed and I said, well, the problem with that is I don't practice it. I get it right the first time, which it now says on my business cards. And they went on and she said, well, we have to determine whether you're competent to represent yourself. And I said, and if I hadn't been handcuffed, hands and feet and in a red jail suit, I would have thrown my arms up and laughed and said, oh, Barketta, which I did say, oh, I mean, Redwood, California, Judge 422 U.S. 806. The problem with that is that the Supreme Court ruled in Barron v. Baltimore, 7 Peters 243, 1828, the Bill of Rights doesn't apply to the states. Shut the entire courtroom up in 30 seconds. The DA never recovered, didn't say 2 words to me the entire time I was there, and didn't know what to do with me. And they're right. I was, in effect, saying, where the hell are we? We're not in the state of South Carolina, which, if you don't know, is the cradle of states' rights, for crying out loud. No one there had a clue. But this is what you can do to them. Boy, I wish I had that video. That's $1 million video, which they claim not to have made this in a court of record. 30 seconds. So that said, attorneys simply won't do what it is we want them to do. And if that's the case, and that's the big deal with the conditional acceptance of counsel, you'll learn that the Supreme Court has said, in effect, that no jail time can be imposed in at least misdemeanor, if not felony cases, if the accused wasn't represented at trial. Well, we won't be, but it isn't our fault because they won't do what it is we want them to do. We're educated, they're not. They're not going to do it. Therefore, the 905 can't possibly construe that as a voluntary, knowing, and intelligent waiver of the right to effective assistance of counsel, which is a big joke given the fact that it emanates from the Due Process Clause of the non-existent 14th War Amendment. My goodness, and that's the only right, quote unquote, they think you have. All the other ones ain't. Just like Roger Brooktani said in Scott v. Severett, the black man has no rights that the white man is bound to respect. And that quote's there exactly verbatim, but I never heard in 10th grade U.S. history the context in which it arose. Because Tony was talking about the situation in the 1770s before the formation of the nation and republic. Nowadays, what I call a de facto national socialist government doesn't think we have any rights that they are bound to respect no matter who we are. We're all slaves. They own us lock, stock, and barrel. And that's what has to change. I know why. I know how it happened. I want to teach you. The more of us we get out there doing this across the spectrum, Americans, Asians, Africans, the quicker we get these bastards off our backs. That's how important it is. I haven't seen an attorney that I know of that'll even come close to being able to do that. And it's unfortunate, but it's simply the way it is these days. You know, they have an oath to the state bar. They probably have an oath to the Bar Association, which, if you don't know, is British Accreditation Registry, which is why they're unregistered foreign agents. They owe their allegiance there and quite possibly to Vatican City. There are those that think that the Vatican is the location of the ultimate power in the entire world, and they might be right for reasons beyond the scope of this video, but they might have a point. You know, I read a book called Holy Blood, Holy Grail years ago, long before I came across Dan Brown, who wrote some excellent books, including The Da Vinci Code and Angels and Demons. So I'm somewhat up to speed in this area. I can go back and talk about it intelligently. And they don't like that very much either when you get in front of them in one of their courts. I can tell you that for a fact. So that said, you do what you can with attorneys, but if they won't do it your way, then you get my document package and you file this conditional acceptance of counsel and say, hey, Judge, I did the best I could, but I can't be in this foreign jurisdiction where you won't answer my bill of particulars, tell me the nature and cause of the accusations, i.e., the jurisdiction and venue of the trial court, the elements of the crime which they can't identify because they're all commercial and all relate to corporations, or the identity of my accuser, and therefore you have no way to confront and cross-examine your accuser, a foundation right in all criminal cases. That's how big this is. And we can't do any of it. Oh, hey, Judge, why bother with the trial? Just fucking get it over with today, issue the guilty verdict, and be done with it. Directed verdict of guilt. That's all these bastards do, especially in traffic courts, but across the board. And you never get heard. And I had the California Supreme Court saying it, although unofficially, if they had done this on the record, they'd all be out there in San Quentin on charges of treason. But saying that they refused to file my petition for a non-statutory writ of habeas corpus because the questions I asked are beyond the jurisdiction of California courts as they appear to present federal issues. They don't have federal jurisdiction? Whoa. And while I was in that vacation in Columbia, South Carolina, they had an instance come up. I don't think it ever went to court, where this transgender entity claimed to have a right to select its public bathroom because, as the attorney was arguing, taking a crap in a government funded bathroom affects interstate commerce. My God, if that does, what doesn't? And that's all federal jurisdiction. And yet the California Supreme Court is saying we don't have federal jurisdiction? Oh, you're going to learn a lot of interesting things about that. Send me an email, youwinnincourt@gmail.com, about my constitutional defense document packets. It all becomes clear with just a little studying on your part. What the hell is going on here? And you can teach your children, they can teach their children, and keep your posterity as far away as possible from these bastards, and do it with authority. You ever see an attorney that comes anywhere close to what I'm talking about here? I'd love to get an email from him. I haven't. It's just the way the system works now, or it doesn't work, depending on one's perspective. But that said, be very careful of attorneys. Very, very careful. You can't get them into a written agreement. Don't use them. Tell the court you can't use them, but you can't be suborned into their jurisdiction because of it. That said, subscribe to my videos, like them, tell your friends, get the word out. The more of us we have doing this, especially across a wide spectrum, Americans, Asians, and Africans, the quicker we get these bastards off our back. Thank you.